Welcome to our Crazy Life Scotland. My name's Fiona, and in today's craft and chat I'm going to make a liquid soap dispenser using JDiction Resincrete. I've used Resincrete before a couple of times, but on smaller projects. So what I'll be using today is the JDiction Resincrete. I've got 2 measuring cups here. I've got some water and scales. Resincrete is weighed rather than measured by volume, so you do need some good scales that measure in grams. Now I've got rechargeable ones here because my last set of scales ran out halfway through a project and I was really frustrated, so I got rechargeable ones, but as long as they work then it's fine. Now they're fully charged now, so I can take them off. I've got a stirry stick. And the mould I'll be using today is this mould from Temu, of course. You may have seen it in a haul. I've not used it before, so this will be fun. And it has a lid as well. That is the lid. Now, you need to be careful what you mix Resincrete with to give it colour. It does come with dyes that are made specifically for Resincrete, so I tend to stick to them. I believe you can add mica powder and glitter. What I have found though is if you dust your mould with mica powder first, it doesn't really stick to the Resincrete. So I would suggest if you're going to use mica powder to actually mix it in with the Resincrete. And I've not tried it with glitter in it, but I'm going to try that today. There's 2 main pros to using Resincrete in my opinion, and that is a very quick demould time. You basically, depending on the ratios that you mix it, which we'll talk about in a second, you get an 8 to 10 minute work time, so you need to make sure you're completely organised, and you can demould within 25 minutes to half an hour, so it's fantastic if you're looking for a quick project. The other good thing about Resincrete is it's got a completely different look to resin, so depending what sort of look you're going for, you can use resin or you can use resin. Anyway, let's get started. So, the mixing ratios. The standard mix ratio for the Resincrete is 100 grams of the powder to 30 grams of the water. Now remember, it's by weight, not by volume, and that gives you a work time of 8 minutes and a curing time of about 20 minutes. But I prefer to do the second option, which is 100 grams of the powder to 35 grams of water, and that gives you a work time of 10 minutes and a curing time of 25 minutes. It does say that the maximum ratio is 100 to 35. Don't add any more water than that. So let's try this. See how we get on. Right, so I'm going to switch my scales on, pop my cup on, tear it. There we go, we're at 0. So I'm looking for 35 grams of water. Now I just use cold water, it doesn't specify on the packet. There we go, 35 grams. I'm going to put my cup on there, it's still at 0. I'm going to use the scoop that comes with it. Oh, try not to make a mess like that, Fiona. Wait just now, I can't see. This is the second time I've done this because I couldn't see the first time I started. Let's try that again, Fiona. Still at 0. Try putting less in at a time, you won't make as much mess. I think each scoop is roughly about 30 grams. Yeah, near enough. So I'm looking for 100 grams. I have got other moulds here just in case there's too much, because like I said, I've got no idea how much it actually takes, this mould. 86. Oh, changed now. 89, 90, 102. Well, these scales aren't very great. 101, that'll do. Now, the easiest way I've found it, and I think the correct way, although it doesn't say on the packet, is I add the powder to the water rather than the other way around. I just find it gives a smoother consistency. So just a little bit at a time. Start as you go. Because as you can see, it's not a lot of water compared to the amount of powder. Try not to make too much mess like I do. I am wearing gloves, but the other good thing about Resincrete is it's eco-friendly, it's all natural, it shouldn't damage your skin, but, you know, just keep yourself right, it's up to you. Now we want to take time to make sure it's nice and smooth, we've not got any lumps, but at the same time, we don't want to take too much time and then have it starting to cure before we get a chance to pour it into our mould. It's a delicate balance. Oh, look, spilling it again. It's because I panic. See, when I know that I've got a short working time, I do panic a little bit. One thing I don't do when I'm doing the Resincrete is wear a mask. I'm not fussed about that. I know you could do if you're worried about the powder in the air, you know, breathing that in. But my head's quite a bit far back than this, so. It starts to get quite thick when you're almost out the powder. I was going to say it's a bit like making a cake, but I wouldn't know because I'm rubbish at baking and cooking in general. But I would imagine that's what it's like, just adding a little bit at a time and giving it a stir to make sure it's nice and smooth. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get an awful lot out of this in terms of the mould, so we shall see. We can always do different gradients of colour as well. It's entirely up to you. It's your artwork, your project. Right, put all of that in now. I should have actually looked at the time to see what time we were at. Now the one thing with these cups is they have got a groove in the bottom, and I'm always worried about the powder getting stuck down there. Let's have a wee scrape of the side. That looks relatively smooth. Now I'm wanting to make this one grey, so because the Resincrete is white, I'm just going to add some black to it. You don't get a white pigment with it because it's white anyway, and it does dry extremely white. I don't want too much. Let's try 2 drops just now and we'll see what that does. That's nice actually, I like that colour. Oh, do you know what I should have done? Before I started mixing, I was wanting to just pour some glitter into the lid mould. Wipe this up. So let me do that just now, because I don't want to put it in the actual Resincrete because I don't want glitter in the main body of it. So I thought, since we're doing purple and grey, we'll do purple glitter. There we go. It's maybe too much. We'll see what happens. It might take it, it might not. Right, so I am now going to gently pour into the lid. I don't want to cover the bit in the middle because then there wouldn't be a hole for the soap to come out. So that shall do. Move that over. Because I've moved that, there's a few bubbles came up, but I'll keep an eye on it and we can check that later. Now I'm just going to pour the rest of this into here and see how much we get. I'm going to do another full 100g one of grey again, maybe a slightly lighter colour of grey. I don't know if you can see that, but the bubble has actually brought up some glitter, which is quite interesting. Like I said, I've never tried using glitter with it before, but I have seen people putting glitter in their moulds and then adding the Resincrete, so we'll see what happens. Right, so I'm going to pop this over here. Again, you can give it a couple of dunts to make sure all of the bubbles rise up. But to be honest, I've never had any issues with bubbles in Resincrete. Right, so I want this to cure for, it doesn't need to be the full sort of 25 minutes before I add the next colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and clean this out. I basically use a paper towel and then just some hot water. I'm going to clean this out and I will come back to you. Right, that's been about 15 minutes. I reckon we should be okay to move on to the next stage. So we want 100 grams of Resincrete again. $102, that should be fine. And we want our 35 grams of water. Do that. There we go. Right, now I'm going to mix that in exactly the same way. I'll do it off camera to spare you getting bored, and I'll come back to you once it's mixed. Right, that should be nice and mixed now. So I'm just going to pour roughly half of it into another cup. It doesn't need to be exact. Yeah, that'll do. I'll stick with my grey in this one. So I'm just going to add 1 drop of the black this time because we've got less. And I'll give that a stir. And I'll take a clean stirrer. And I want it purple, so I'm going to add a drop of red. And a drop of blue. Come on. And we'll see how that looks. Not as easy to stir in this cup. I think that looks too blue, so I'm going to go for some more red. And it's basically, it's just, oopsie, just a case of playing about with the colours until you're happy with how it looks. And if you want to leave it not quite mixed in, you can, just to give it that sort of marbly colour. Yeah, I'm much happier with that. It does dry a little bit paler than it looks when it's wet, I would say. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So, what I want to do now is, I've never done this before. I've seen people doing it. I've never been brave enough to try it. Just give this another quick stir, make sure it's all okay. Now I should, before I started this, I should have checked there wasn't any wee bits on the edges, and there is. I'm just going to leave it now. I should have checked first, because any bits that are sticking to the mould are going to be on the actual dish and it's going to be on the outside. I'm not worried about this because you won't see it, it's inside, but never mind, we'll go with it. Right, and now I am basically going to try to pour them both at roughly the same time. The red isn't totally mixed into the purple, which I'm fine with. I don't know, it might all just merge into one, but we'll give it a try and we'll see what happens. give it a scrape. My goodness, I think this is going to take another full lot, at least, to fill up. It's quite a big mould. Right, so I'll leave this another sort of 15 minutes and then I will come back to you. I am back now and I think I'm going to make up 150 grams of powder this time, because there's still quite a bit of space to fill up in this mould, and I've got another mould that I want to fill with purple Resincrete anyway, so it won't go to waste. So I am going to think about my water first. So if I'm doing 150 grams, that's the 100 grams would be my 35 grams as normal. Oops. That's 42, that's okay though. So the 35 grams is normal, and then I would want half of that again because I'm adding another 50 grams of powder. So I want an extra sort of 17 added to it. So that's what, 52 grams is it? Is that right? 35 and 17 is 52, isn't it? Too early in the morning for maths. That's maybe one of the downsides of Resincrete. You need to do maths. Right, so there's 52 grams of water. And actually, was that? I don't think that was tiered. That's 43 grams. I'm going to do that again because I don't think it was tiered properly. Right. 52. There we go. 150. There we go. Right, so again, I'm going to mix this up and then I'll come back to it. Right, that's all mixed up. So because I've got a lot more this time, I'm going to do, I think, 2 drops of blue and 3 red, and we'll see how that goes. No, I don't think that was 3. Give this a mix and see how it goes. That's quite a nice colour. I think I maybe want sort of half a drop more of red in there. Right. Right, let's get to pouring. And I'm not doing anything fancy this time. I'm literally just pouring it in. Are we going to have enough? Are we going to have enough? I think we are. I think we are. Yay! What I've got left is nowhere near enough for the other mould. So while that is curing, I'm going to go ahead and mix some more up off camera and add it to my other mould. And I'll come back when we're ready to unmould it. Hello again. Right, it's actually been about an hour, so it's had plenty of time to cure. So let's start off with the lid, and we'll see what's happened with the glitter. Now, I did put a lot of glitter in here, so probably not all of it will have been taken on by the Resincrete. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of glitter left in the mould. It's got the thread on it for the lid, so I need to be careful. Okay. That's not looking great at all, is it? That's a bit of a disaster. It is actually inside it, but hold on a second. Right, I've just got a bit of paper here to pour my glitter onto, so I don't waste it. So So we can see, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, there are a couple of bits of the Resincrete that have broken off when I've been unmoulding it. So maybe for something that's got a thread like that, the Resincrete's maybe too delicate for it. But I've got a massive big dent in it there. That's okay, we'll go with it, it's just a practice. Yeah, I definitely went way OTT with the glitter, whereas resin would have probably taken all of that on board. The Resincrete hasn't. But that's fine, now I know. Hopefully the actual dish will be fine, because that was a lot of Resincrete and I really don't want this to be wasted. It's easy enough to pour another lid. So, I don't know how easy this will be to demould because I've not used it before. And again, I don't want to wreck the Resincrete. I can see a line there where we've... right, okay. Let's take this out and then we can have a proper look. Okay, right, so let's have a look at this. Now it's actually quite nice. I don't know if the colours are showing up very clearly on camera, but we have got some bubbles. Now, I've never had bubbles before. Do you know what I think that could be? See those little bits of grey there as well? That's the bits that were stuck to the mould, I think. Yeah, so it's just where the two layers have met together. We've got a few bubbles, but I can hide them. I'll find a way to hide them, and we've got a bubble there. And again, that's where the first layer stopped and the next layer started. So yeah, we have got a few bubbles and some of the grey sort of merging. But it's just for me, it's for in my bathroom, so that's not too bad at all. I like the idea of it. I'm just going to have to be careful when mixing two layers together that we don't get the bubbles. But I do quite like the mixture. The grey's pretty much overtaken when I was doing the two pours together. The grey's definitely, and I think that's where the marble bit was. But I like the effect. I really do like the effect. Now, what I will say at this point while I remember is I did get in touch with JDiction and ask if it was okay to put something like soap or water, because I was thinking about vases as well in it. I was worried that putting water or something liquid in it would sort of make it dissolve a bit, sort of disintegrate, because it's water based. And I said, look, it's probably a really stupid question. And she said, no, it's not a stupid question, but as long as you leave it long enough to fully cure, because obviously it's cured enough to demold just now, but leave it maybe a good sort of 24, 48 hours before putting any liquids in it, it'll be perfectly fine. And I do actually like the shape of the mould, how that's came out. I do like that. So it is fine to put water or soap or something like that in Resincrete. Just give it time to properly cure. She said you can seal it if you want first, maybe just using resin, that sort of thing. If you look inside, I don't know if you can see the different colours inside. So you're seeing more of the purple inside than the grey. It's funny how it works actually. Now the bottom bit here is slightly rough, but I can just give that a sand and that will smooth down a bit. Let's see whether the lid does actually fit in here or not. I will use a different lid anyway. So yeah, it fits okay. I don't like the glitter on it at all. So I'm going to make another one of these without the glitter. I'll just do it in the grey. But when I got the mould from Temu, they didn't send the pump with it. It was just a mistake. It is meant to come with the mould. So I've ordered the pump separately and I don't know whether it is going to fit or not. So let's find out. Obviously you put the straw in you attach the straw there because that's what suits the soap up. You can cut that to size as well. I just want to see whether this will go on. It looks like it might, yeah, it looks like it will screw on okay. Obviously the thread isn't great, but yeah, look, it does. That's good. Actually, I don't mind it like that now that I see it. It's just that little bit there. I might just put some, actually, no, I don't mind it. I don't mind that at all, now that I see it with the lid on. What do you think? Not bad. So what I might do is I might just take some UV resin and go along, either fill in the holes or just put some UV resin along in a couple of stripes just to give it a wee bit of accent and hide the colours. But to be honest, because it's only for my bathroom, I might not. But I've learned a lot from doing this, and I hope you have as well. Let me know in the comments below, has this been useful for you? I think the next time I do it, I'll do it in resin rather than Resincrete, but I do like the look. As you can see, it's a totally different look to resin. It's more like a sort of plastery cement type, and it feels different as well. But yeah, I do like that. I really do like that. The more I look at it, the more I'm getting to like it. So let me know in the comments below, have you learned from this? I certainly have, and that's what this is all about, isn't it? I hope you've enjoyed this. If so, please do hit the thumbs up button. Talk to me in the comments below, like I said. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It's completely free and it will help out my wee channel. And I'll see you in our next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.